Hey friends, welcome back to 3D Cartoon Review. Settle in and let the stars open around you. Today's chapter is Swallowed Star EP200 inches of faithful, cinematic retelling. If you enjoy deep, lore-accurate storytelling, remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Now breathe steady, we begin. When Luo Feng left the outer battlefield, the roar of the Spirit Tower faded behind him like a storm crossing into memory. The path ahead felt clean and cold. 3 grand secret realms, 3 hidden black metal plates, the remaining fragments of the Nine Tribulations Secret Code. But there was a debt seated squarely in his chest, an old iron nail that had to come out before he took another step. He would avenge Hu Yambo first. He would find Devil Hand King and take his head, not with an assassin's distance, but with his own hand. He readied for blood, then paused at the first cruel twist of the chapter. The enemy he killed was a false immortal body, a decoy godflesh, arranged by that crafty old monster long before. The real Devil Hand King had left a message like a shard of ice: when Hu Yanbo is revived, I will appear and accept the blade directly. It was a mockery and a promise. It was also the only clean line in a place where lines blur. So Luo Feng set the revenge aside like a sword returned to its scabbard and turned toward the first of the 3 secret realms, the Ice Prison Starfield. Of the 6 marked fatal zones within that starfield, one matched the coordinates Sitting Mountain Guest had quietly given him: an icy world under a dead blue sun, a black metal plate rumored at the heart of a fortress palace. He arrived in the dark beyond its rings and hid in the hush between stars. Even from far off, he saw planets sheath-glazed in frost, ice-locked to bedrock in sheets thick enough to bury cities. A peculiar pull tugged at him from a single world, exactly where Sitting Mountain Guest's coordinates pointed a silent confirmation that the black metal plate was there, waiting like a needle in a vein. Mission plain: in, pluck, out, new alarms, new wreckage. And yet the starfield itself was a reason most thieves die of good planning. These were not ordinary frozen planets. Each was the den of a species born from primordial cold at the dawn of the universe, Dao-Kou. Beautiful in a way that pricks the eye, faces that look naive until you're dead, a people that treat killing like a child's game, rare, barely reproductive, obscene talent. The virtual universe company's files were blunt. Among thousands of Dao-Kou living across the Ice Prison star systems, hundreds had reached immortal. 2 were Universe Venerables. Each Ice Prison planet was effectively a private fortress, ruled by an immortal Dao-Kou. Luo Feng judged he could survive one immortal king in a direct clash, but the first ripple of godforce would announce him to every cold ear in the neighborhood, and no intruder detected in the ice prison had ever escaped alive. The Starfield's 2 venerables, stronger than common peers, would fall like iron rain. So he watched and was rewarded by chance. 3 silhouettes drifted out of a distant nebula stream with laughter bright as bells. 3 Dao-Kou at Sector Lord level, 1, a rare purple female, slender, bright, the other 2, green males, handsome, vicious. An idea sparked. Luo Feng drew his presence inward and stepped sideways into his world ring. He summoned Heavenly Formation King, his soul-bound immortal vassal, and gave the command: find me a clever agile scout at immortal, Feng Ho, level not a bruiser. Heavenly Formation King obliged with a whisper across the webs of slavery and brought forth a demon macaque from a monster clan. Quick hands, quicker mind. Slip, Luo Feng ordered. Enter the ice prison planet. Find the black metal plate. Bring it out. A foothold would be enough. Luck would be a gift. The macaque ghosted forward under the glare of dead suns. Near the target world it paused, heart still, breath narrower than a razor. 2 Sector Lord Dao-Kou floated out of the planet just then, laughing, careless, and drifted away without sensing the trespass. Overcautious, the macaque thought of Luo Feng, but as a soul slave it obeyed and pressed on. It wormed into the inner palace itself, passed through silent gates, and drifted like a shadow over cold floors. The moment it crossed the main hall's threshold, the palace awakened. An invisible wave blew outward. Fury in a voice not human snapped across those silent bones. A purple light speared the air too fast to name. Run, Luo Feng said through the virtual universe link. Too late. A high immortal Dao-Kou had flicked a single purple lance. The macaque froze mid-flight, soul burning out like frost under a black sun. In the last frames of vision sent through the link, Luo Feng saw 2 prizes: a chunk of ice prison crystal worth about 2 trillion hunyuan, and elsewhere in the palace, the black metal plate itself. He replayed the data breath by breath, and saw the trap clearly. The inner hall was wired to detect every non-Dao-Kou presence. Every outsider stepping over that threshold might as well light a beacon over their head. And yet, the black metal lay inside. To seize it, one must enter, and to enter was to be found. No frontal heroics. He summoned the Mosha clone and folded it into a blue-clad green-skinned Dao-Kou male, body and breath perfect down to the last flicker, using secret arts of imitation. The clone emerged in deep space 6 million kilometers out and arrowed straight for the planet. At the edge of the stratosphere, a purple Dao-Kou woman flashed into his path, smile like pale flame. "B," she called delighted. "Terrasa's new east wind, will you come see?" Luo Feng blinked, then answered with the lazy joy of an acquaintance. "I'm here to pay respects to Terrasa." He drifted according to the palace map the macaque had transmitted, went to the Tapo Hall, and found the black metal plate among a heap of refuse, broken relics, dead ornaments, trash masking a star. He palmed the plate, calm, steady, turned, and retraced his path. No teleportation. To blink in the ice prison ring was to announce your coordinates. He flew, slow fast like a hunting fish, only needing to clear the atmosphere and hit lightspeed into the dark. The world ended its patience one breath too soon. Somewhere, a monitor read a truth no disguise can hide. The Mosha body's life nucleus wasn't B, it was foreign. Terrasa bared her teeth, ripped a hole in space, and stood above him like judgment falling. A cold, killing intent pulsed. She hurled a purple ray meant to freeze his soul into a pretty block of ice. The Mosha clone answered not with courage but with contingency. Luo Feng triggered Escape Plan 3 and teleported out of Terrasa's sensing range. Rage crackled across the planet like lightning on glass. Terrasa received the curt whisper of her tribe's venerable leader and held back. At venerable level, they said, the prey could not run far. Now the chase. The Mosha clone cut space in ragged leaps, each instant transfer a full light-year or more, trailing faint ripples as footprints. Where a normal king would have been lost, a blue-armored Universe Venerable of the Dao-Kou simply followed the prints left in space, a cat toying with a mouse. He let Luo Feng run, then grew bored. With a flicker of will, he burned 0.1% of his divine power. The surge raked 10 light-years of space into warping chaos. The Mosha clone's power to teleport cut off like a blade, space locked, movement sealed. The Venerable appeared, eyes like thin ice, and took the measure of the prey. "A Mosha," he said, "and a sector lord who can blink. Genius." Then his voice cooled further. "Why run when you know you cannot go?" "Kill me," Luo Feng said, calm to the point of insult. The Venerable obliged, erasing the Mosha clone with a tired gesture. He looked for the black metal in the ashes and felt his insides stiffen with cold. It wasn't there. In the stutter between teleports, Luo Feng had used one touch of ground on a floating mountain range to press a world ring disguised as an innocuous rock into the granite. Inside, a crippled slave clutched the real black metal plate. While the Venerable was distracted with the chase, that slave took the ring and slipped away, star by star. Far, far off, on a biological ship, Luo Feng's true earthling body turned the rock over in one hand and smiled like a thief counting a perfect ledger. He'd lost a demon macaque and a Mosha body, both replaceable. The goal was achieved, the plate was his. Then the temperature in the command capsule dropped like a stone into winter. Cold air bloomed behind him from absolutely nowhere. He turned and found himself facing a beauty carved from quiet and permafrost. A Dao-Kou Universe Venerable, one of Moon Silver's 2 peaks, now standing in his cockpit as if it had always been her room. He sighed inside. There had been a seam in the plan. He bowed, polite, and gambled on civilization. "Honored Venerable," he said, "name the price. I will redeem my mistake." Her eyes, amused, measured him as if he were a rare object. She even inclined her head in a way that suggested a market could be made. The black metal might be treated as goods. He felt the possibility open, and then slammed shut with a turn of her tone. "Your Mosha forced Qing-Blue Venerable to burn his godforce," she said. "He was angered because of you. Do you imagine forgiveness?" Before he could answer, space buckled under her will and the stars themselves changed. She teleported Luo Feng in vast leaps, dragging him across gulfs faster than fear can land, until the core of the moon-silver system spread beneath them like a frozen flower. On a great ice planet, one of the two personal worlds of the Dao-Kou Venerables, his bioship was recalled like a toy and swallowed by inventory. The Blue Venerable arrived. Anger in his eyes had cooled to a thin, permanent thing. "Where is your Mosha clone?" he asked. "A friend's help," Luo Feng said, meaningfully vague. "Enough," the Blue Venerable said, too polished for shouting. "Take him to the ice prison." He had waited for those words. From Virtual Universe Company dossiers, Luo Feng had learned the truth of Moon Silver's name. A holy object, something like a town-sealing star, lay at the system's heart, a prison that could bind and suppress power across the ranks. One venerable held it. Countless enemies had learned to fear it. To naive captives, Ice Prison was an end. To Luo Feng, it was a known page in the book. He schooled his face into the proper worry and let them take him. Inside, he counted other lines of his plan, all moving in the dark. In the dark universe, his golden-horned beast, true body, flowed through currents with the origin nucleus secure. Inside that inner world, the Mosha clones that had been destroyed were already being reborn, not quickly, not yet strong, but inevitable as a seed in spring. Even if the human body of Luo Feng stood shackled on a foreign planet, the essence of his power, the nucleus, the beast, the future clones remained untouched. He kept his eyes open as they escorted him across a palace of ice older than language. Pale halls drifted into pale courtyards. The floors had the slickness of polished glacier. Dao-Kou immortals watched him with faint, curious smiles, the way children might consider a toy they will break and remake. It wasn't swagger that kept Luo Feng upright, it was arithmetic. He had come into this starfield with 2 plans, and had made 3 on the way. He had stolen from a palace ruled by killers, led a venerable by the nose with a false trail, and moved treasure under the eyes of a race whose eyes are knives. He could afford a thin smile in the corridor of a prison. The memory of Devil Hand King returned then, a black star on the horizon of his thoughts. That debt would be paid, but not today. Today was about Moon Silver, about a plate gone from their cold hands, about a prison that thinks it has found a man when in truth it has closed around a shadow. He let the guards perform their ritual humiliations, the seals traced over his skin with tools that smelled of snow and iron, the nullifying bands that rested against his wrists like indifferent snakes. He watched for the timbre of the ice prison's power and learned it by feel, the way a musician tests a new hall with 2 notes. Then the world narrowed to a door, and the door to a chamber cut from blue-white stone. When it closed, the cold didn't hit his bones. It slid past him into the floor, as if he were the one chilling the air. He sat and counted breaths, counting to 1,000 as if he were young again and training on a balcony under a storm. At breath 500, he smiled at the memory of a purple smile and a venerable's hand moving like a razor through space. At breath 700, he saw the black metal safe inside a ring no one now held but him. At breath 1000, he let his eyes fall closed. He could see the golden-horned beast threading its path in the dark, could hear the tiny, relentless heartbeat of regeneration inside his inner world. He owned something the Dao-Kou did not know how to measure: time. And time, married to preparation, is a blade that cuts any prison given enough room. Somewhere far away, on another line of the story that would converge with this one soon enough, Devil Hand King would one day stand and accept the punishment he had earned. Somewhere else, the 2nd and 3rd secret realms waited like 2 more cold mountains. For now, in the heart of Moon Silver, Luo Feng did nothing. Which, for the Dao-Kou, would prove to be the most dangerous decision of all. And that is where this chapter chooses to end. With a theft executed under impossible eyes, a chase that burned godforce and pride, a venerable's cold hand on the lever of space, and a prisoner who is not what the cell believes he is. The black plate is his, the plans are alive, the game, in truth, is only now beginning. Thanks for listening on 3D Cartoon Review. If this faithful cinematic retelling of Swallowed Star episode 200 hit the spot, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. Drop your thoughts below. Was the Mosha decoy the cleanest play, or would you have risked a different escape route? Which moment thrilled you more, the palace theft or the Venerable's cold teleport chain? Your comments help shape the next chapters. See you in the stars.